And welcome back. This is your man Warrior. This is another patron roster review. This is Bobby235. I know him as Big Dog. He is from the FTB Overseers. What is going on, you guys? FTB Overseers in the house. Now, he does spend some money in the game. He's been playing for a little over a year, and he wants some help with Arena, the Heroic AAT, and ships. I have a ton of stuff to go over, so I'm going to try and go as fast as possible. You're going to have to take notes or watch the video a couple of times to get it all. So he did just solo the Heroic Rancor for the first time ever, and this happened just before the fix, the real fix to Darth Vader, so congratulations on that. Now that they've fixed Darth Vader for real, you are going to have to make sure your potency on that team is over 80 as best as possible, and your speeds as best as possible are over 200 for all of those characters you're using, and then you're going to have to not run through it fast, but take your time going through it to make sure that you're strategizing when to use certain turn meter reducers and whatnot. So that's my suggestion there. All right, we're going to go into Arena. I'm looking at your team, and there's a lot of different opportunities here. One of the things you could do with what you currently are kind of showing is you could just simply swap Boba Fett and Wedge as the leaders. Wedge gives you a little bit of health regeneration and turn meter gain, which makes the team a little bit faster, and he's going to cause them to have 30% more offense, does quite a bit of damage. That 30% offense is equally as good as what you're getting from Boba Fett as the leader, and Boba Fett as the leader, him stepping down, he still is utilitarian even if he's not the leader, but him being the leader is not a bad thing. You've got a good Arena squad built out. I'm just going to give you some suggestions. Now, these suggestions I'm going to give you are going to include characters that you may need to put on a farming list that you need to gear up and get leveled up. So there's going to be a farming list on the side, and that's going to start to be built as I go through all of these Arena teams in Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, and Phase 4 teams and ships. So keep that in mind. We're going to start building those teams out. Now, the first team is going to be a Wedge lead in Arena, and I suggest your Chirrut and Baze. So that is going to lead us to Chirrut and Baze needing to continue to be developed, including Chirrut, and then General Kenobi and R2. There's your R2-D2. You've got his abilities up, but you still have some work with gearing. He's gear 6, so you've got some work to do. And General Kenobi, you do not have yet, but you're working on, so when you get him, he'll be a top priority. Another option for the Arena is going to be a Rex lead, like a lot of people are doing. He's a phenomenal lead, and you've got him gear 7. Of course, this would include having Chirrut and Baze. You have Baze leveled up, but Chirrut is still at 4 stars, level 1, and so this team would include you having to get him up. When you unlock General Kenobi, you can throw him on the team, and also you can throw Darth Nihilus on this team. So we were talking about a Rex lead, Chirrut and Baze, Darth Nihilus, and General Kenobi. Again, you need General Kenobi for both of those teams I just suggested with the Wedge lead or the Rex lead. And then the last team that I suggest, other than those variants, is going to be a Darth Vader lead, because you have his Zeta, so he makes an excellent leader in Arena, especially if you're going against other Darth Mauls and other Rex leads. You just need him really, really fast, so you are going to need Baze, Malbus for the tank, and then Darth Nihilus, of course, for his Dispel and his ability to increase cooldowns. And then you're also going to mix those two up with either Emperor Palpatine, because he's gear 11 already, and he is an amazing character. You can get him up really, really fast so that way you have someone stunning and shocking, and the shock is going to prevent that additional turn meter and whatnot, and additional health over times. And then also you can include on this team none other than Boba Fett. That's right, Boba Fett is an awesome character to place on this team. With Darth Nihilus and Boba Fett, you're getting essentially 2 ability blocks. You're getting Boba Fett's really fast ability block on the whole team, and Darth Nihilus's cooldown increase, which acts like an ability block. Plus, you've got Emperor Palpatine doing mad damage and Darth Nihilus. Baze is your auto taunter and dispeller. He can dispel in 2 different ways the opponent, so you can stay on track. And of course, Darth Vader for the dots, the damage over time. So those are 3 Arena suggestions I think you should try out. I know a couple of them you can't yet because you do not have General Kenobi, but you are in a league now that is, or guild, that is going to provide that for you. Now let's move to the Heroic AAT Phase 1. All right, so for phase 1, you've got Jedi, and I would suggest using a team that includes Jedi Knight Anakin, whom you do not have, and Aayla Secura, who's at gear 6, as you can see. And so 2 of the 5 I recommend are underpowered, undergeared, or not even unlocked yet. So these are 2 Jedi you need to hyper focus on. Once you have them, you're going to probably do either the Qui-Gon Jinn if you end up doing his Zeta. If you don't do his Zeta, go ahead and run Aayla Secura as your leader. This is why you need her, okay? And so get Aayla Secura 7 stars and get her geared up, and then you put her on as the leader, and then you use Jedi Knight Anakin, Qui-Gon Jinn, you can use Ahsoka Tano, and then lastly, probably your Luminara or Mace, whichever one you feel like does more damage. I would think Luminara would be the better choice since you have the heal capability with her to keep them around. You should very easily with this team, once you have Aayla up and you have your Jedi Knight Anakin unlocked, you should be able to do a minimum of around 200,000, which is about 4 to 5%, which is pretty good for a basic Jedi team. So that would be my suggestion for P1. For phase 2, I do recommend that you finish off your clones, and then you use Leia. You're going to use the Leia Cody combination that everybody talks about, Princess Zodi, I think is what they call it. You're going to pull Rex out of this team, although you need to develop him for Arena, and you're going to put Leia in that spot, but you want to make sure you get the rest of them to 7 stars. Clone Sergeant's the last one to 7 stars, so you can use them in the Heroic, and then of course you're going to have to finish gearing them up with Echo, Cody, and Clone Sergeant being the 3 most important on this team to gear up right now, since your 5s is maxed out and your Rex is a side project for Arena. But you definitely want to do that. Once you have this team maxed out, you can do anywhere from 2 million all the way up to about 4 or 5 million in phase 2, and you can use this team in phase 4 of the tank raid as well. So if you happen to miss the second phase of your tank raid and you need to contribute quite a lot, you can wait till phase 4 and dump your clones into there. But this is a project that you should be working on, the clones, for phase 2/phase 4. For phase 3, I'd recommend either having Chief Chirpa as your lead with Emperor Palpatine, Royal Guard, Stormtrooper Han, and a third person like Darth Vader or another tank. Or I would recommend doing an Emperor Palpatine lead with TIE Fighter Pilot, Royal Guard, Darth Vader, and whatnot. Now, the only problem with that is your TIE Fighter Pilot is only 3 stars. Very fast farm and decent to gear, not horrific. So the TIE Fighter Pilot you should definitely throw into your list of needing to farm for P3. Plus, the TIE Fighter Pilot's got an awesome ship, and you'll use him in ships. So he's the #1 person out of this section that I would work on. And for P4, we did discuss the clones once they're done with Leia. Princess Zodi can do anywhere from 2 to 7 million in this raid, but you've got a great set of rebels. They would work excellent. You could always throw your rebels in P2 and throw your clones in P4 or vice versa, but your clones are on their way. The rebels are already looking phenomenal. Out of here, of course, you do have R2-D2 on your list of needing to do, and Princess Leia, you'd want to continue to try and get her up to gear 11. And Stormtrooper Han will be used in the P3 section for the extra turn meter when Emperor Palpatine's being used in phase 3. But on this, the biggest one that I see that you need to work on for phase 4 is Chirrut Imwe. Chirrut Imwe is an awesome character with Baze. They're a great combination. You have Biggs and Wedge, and then of course you can pair them up in this with Admiral Akbar or Han Solo or Lando. Han Solo's phenomenal. He does a ton of damage. He is squishy, but with Chirrut and Baze, his squishiness is less important, and he does tons of damage, and he can buff the team when needed, so that way when that ship comes overhead, you have the buff so you don't lose any of your characters. So that's probably who I would use since you have a gear 11 Han Solo. As far as how to gear them, critical chance, critical damage on your Jedi, your clones, your P3 rebels, pretty much all of these teams, you want to do as much damage as possible, so you're wanting critical chance, critical damage mods on most of these characters with as much speed secondaries on all of your attackers to get them off as fast as possible. So if you've been paying attention, there is a ton of characters you are going to have to farm. I've listed quite a few. You've got your clones you're going to need to finish. You've got Darth Maul for ships you're going to want to continue to work on the side. I mentioned the TIE Fighter Pilot. Jedi Knight Anakin, Ayla, Rex, General Kenobi once you get him, R2-D2, and Chirrut for the Chirrut and base combo. Now let's go ahead and take a look at ships. So you're using Admiral Akbar, that's great. You've also got Biggs in there, and you've got Jedi Consular, and you got Ahsoka in there. Jedi Consular makes a really solid front line because he can call and assist. Ahsoka can dispel. Biggs is the taunting tank. But to make the most of this, you really need more target lock capability than what you have. You really only have Biggs on here, target lock potentially. So you're going to want to add the TIE Fighter, the Imperial TIE Fighter to be exact. This is why you want to do the TIE Fighter pilot, because his Imperial TIE Fighter is going to be awesome. It's the fastest ship in the game. It'll go, it'll target lock, and then Biggs will auto taunt for you, protecting your team. You can also pair him up with Wedge, just like you have Wedge in there, and that would be excellent because Wedge is pretty durable and does a lot of damage. Now, in your back three, because Biggs is the one being targeted, there is a chance you're going to lose your tank. Your first backup should be Sunfac. He's an excellent tank, and he can easily be the second best tank for Biggs for the taunting tanks. Number 2 in your backup lineup is going to be Resistance. Resistance X-Wing or Poe Dameron's X-Wing, your choice. Between the two, Poe Dameron does do more damage, although you do get the days with Resistance, but with ships, the heavier damage is more important. It's just Poe's only at 4 stars, but he is a heavier hitter, so I would put Poe Dameron in your second, so you have a very heavy damage dealer in your backup lineup. And the last I would put in is the Umbaran Starfighter with 5s. It is very tanky, does quite a bit of damage on his special, and on his basic can put offense and defense down. So this is a really good ship. Really, really tanky, hard to kill, and is a great last ship to come in and just kind of weather the storm while your last few ships try to win the battle for you. So that is what I would do for ships. So Big Dog, I hope this helps. You've got a large list of people to farm. You've got Chirrut, R2-D2, General Kenobi, Rex, Ayla, JKA, TFP, clones, Maul for ships, so you can eventually get the Scimitar in your lineup. It is absolutely crazy. You got your Jedi for Phase 1, your Rebels are clones for Phase 2, Rebels are clones for Phase 4, and you've got your Turpentine / Emperor Palpatine led teams for Phase 3. It's basically Empire teams with Stormtrooper Han. You're doing great for Arena and the Heroic AAT. I'm glad you got your Rancor. You'll get it again. I know that it's going to be more difficult this next time, but you look like you're doing awesome. I hope these characters get you hyper-focused. The only 2 ships that I think that you should farm is going to be the TIE Advanced, of course, so you get that TIE Advanced into your initial lineup, and the Scimitar, so you can get that into either your initial lineup and replace Wedge, or get it into your backup lineup. So that is all I have for you, Bobby. I hope this helps you out. I'll see you inside our private Discord channel. As always, keep your gaming on. Warrior, out.